Hello everybody, this is Rocket Rick J18, and today I want to talk to you about a couple of cards that sat in my collection for many years, unlooked at and unappreciated, until Mike at Junk Wax Hero pointed out that on one of the cards there was a former Yankee great, well, not a former great, but a former Yankee, pictured. And on the other one, there was another former Yankee great, also pictured on a team card. And as I said, I didn't really know about this until fairly recently. And I learned uh, that these two cards existed, and I had not counted them in my player runs, but they will be included uh, in the future. So let's take a look at the cards, and then I'm going to talk to you about a couple other matters that are, just on my mind, and I want to see, have an idea, and I want to see if you all think it's a good idea, bad idea, could care less about the idea, whatever your thoughts are. And I'm not, committed to acting on this idea, but I want you to know about it and see what you say. So let's take a look at the card, and we're gonna. Okay, just get them properly positioned, and there they are. Okay, on the top card, the gentleman who is in the first row seated in chairs, and the second person from the right hand side of the card as you're looking at it is Mickey Mantle. And this, of course, is a 1971 Yankees Team Card. And you would be right if you were saying that, well, Mickey wasn't on the team in 1971. He wasn't. But he was a member of the coaching staff. And I believe that this was really the only year, at least it's the only year that I am aware of that he is pictured on a Yankee card, the Yankees Team Card. So that's the second card, and the first card is right below it. And you might say, well, what does a former Yankee great have to do with the Oakland Athletics? And the answer is that Joe DiMaggio was from the Bay Area. He had played in the Pacific Coast League on the San Francisco Seals, and was well known, as were his brothers Dominic and Vince, all three of whom played in the major leagues. Uh, so Joe was out there in California, and doing Mr. Coffee and some other commercial work, and occasionally appearing at a reunion show, a reunion game, or a old timers game, or a you know the odd not so much card shows back then, but later on some card shows. And Joe is pictured in this 1970 Oakland Athletics team card in the front row, the fourth gentleman from the left, as you're looking at the card. So I just get a pen here and point him out. That's Joe right there. And Mickey's up here, and we'll get the focus back on him as it should be. So when I was made aware of these by Mike at Junk Wax Hero, I was just thrilled, and I'm so pleased that I already had these cards in my collection. Although I'm going to add, I probably will have to grade them myself, but I'm going to add graded examples of these two cards to my collection, particularly because I have a collection of Mickey Mantle cards in addition to the ones that I have in my binders. And I have a collection of Joe DiMaggio cards, a few. There aren't very many. But I have some, and now I've got one more. Um, so if you thought Joe was never on a card pictured as an Oakland Athletic, you'd be wrong, as I was. Um, so anyway, that's those are the cards, and I hope you find this as exciting as I do, because I'm really thrilled to death by this. So I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to talk to you about an idea that I have, and the idea is to consider opening this box of Upper Deck cards, which includes the high number series. I have another one of these, and then I have a third box of Upper Deck cards that are don't include the high number series, and I would think those would be or should be slightly more valuable because each box has the same number of packs in it and therefore the same number of cards. And but the one that doesn't have the high number series only has cards 1 through 700, of which card number 1 is Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card. And there are some other nice cards in there too, but that's the big one that everybody's looking for. And if in this box, there are 800 cards in play, and in the meantime, there are let's see, 360 plus an 180. That makes 540. So there are 540 possible cards, not counting duplicates. Or counting duplicates, I guess you could say. So it could even be fewer cards than 540. So you don't necessarily get a Ken Griffey Jr. card in every box, or any other card for that matter, but that's the one you're looking for. So I would say that, of the three boxes, there's probably close to two chances in three on average of getting a Ken Griffey. So that's in the ballpark, odds wise. So I'm thinking about opening this box, not all the boxes. Who want to watch that? And I'm probably will do something to speed up the process, because opening packs of cards that have, Jerry Royster in them. Not that Jerry Royster wasn't a good player, but just wouldn't be as thrilling to watch as it should be, I think. So anyway, I'd like for you, if you would, to take the time to comment below on whether you'd like to see that, whether you don't want to see it, or you could care less about seeing it. Either one, or if you have some other reaction to it, that would be good as well. So that's the project that may or may not take place, and then I have another type of object that I wanted to show you. And I have two books here, which I think I have shown maybe one or both of these cards before. These are outstanding books. This book is my favorite book. It's written by one of my favorite authors, David Halberstam. He's written a lot of books on a wide variety of subjects. He also wrote a book about the 1964 World Series and season called 1964. To be fair, it's not as good as this one, but this is pretty good. And this book covers the years, the 16 seasons that the New York Yankees appeared in 14 World Series. They didn't make it in 1954, and they didn't make it in 1948. They didn't make it in 1959. So 1948 was before this, but 1954 and 1959 they didn't make it into the World Series. They didn't win them all, but they did win a fair number of them. And, Mickey Mantle was not on all of these teams. So there are, I think, 9 World Series winning teams. Mickey was on 7, but of course he didn't come up till 1951. So that's why he only made 7 of the 9. And Joe DiMaggio was on the first 3, 49, 50, and 51. During that stretch, the Yankees won 5 in a row, and then later on they were in 5 in a row, but they didn't win them all. In fact, they only won 2 of them. And then the other 4 pennant winners are sort of interspersed, like 55, 56, 57, 58. So 4 years in a row they were in it. They won 2 of those. So that's these books. What I'm thinking about doing is just doing a series on baseball books. These are 2 examples, and I'd also like for you in the comments below to give me your unvarnished opinions as to whether or not you think taking a look at these books, some of the photos that are in them, we probably just do one or 2 books at a time in that series. So that's what I'm thinking about, and I would appreciate your opinion. The last thing that I want to talk to you about, it is the next thing also, but the last thing, and that is I'm going to duck down here and see if I can get rid of that glare that bothers only a few people. But I'm one of them, so I have to do it. Sorry. So what I'd like to do now is take a moment to shout out 3 channels that I watch pretty faithfully. I comment on them. If I watch a video from, I don't watch them all from stem to stern, but if I do, I comment on it. I think that's the least that I can do as a watcher. So the 3 channels that I want to shout out. The first one is at Peter B 4871. Peter has a show he calls Tobacco Card Tuesdays, and I am a faithful watcher of that show because he does a great job of telling you all about these cards and fascinating stories about the players. It goes into a lot of detail. Plus, he shows off a lot of great cards, and I am not knowledgeable about the T206, T205s, and T207s, and T202s. I don't know much about them. I've got a few, but not many, and I'd like to get more. But if I'm going to get more, I got to find out more about these cards. And Peter is helping me do that, and he'll help you do it too if you turn to his channel. Plus, he's just a great guy. He is a Red Sox fan, but I'm going to cut him a little slack on that. He can't help it. He lives in New England, so he's got to be a Red Sox fan. The second person that I want to point out is another really great guy who I had the good fortune to meet in at the YouTube get together at the National last summer, and his channel is called at TJ underscore is underscore online. And TJ, Tony, is another guy. He's from Philadelphia, and he's a great collector. He has a massive collection, and he's a Mickey Mantle fan, which I have that in common with. And he was good enough to help me with another non-baseball related thing, which he just happened to see on one of my videos, my watch, and I'm not going to show it, but it's just a watch, but he knew a lot about it and was able to help me learn more about it. And since the watch belonged to my dad, who has been dead these past nearly 40 years, my dad was 40 years old when I was born, or almost 40, and so that meant that he was born in 1913. And if that seems like a long time ago, it was. It was more than 100 years ago. So anyway, I digress, but you get the idea why that would be important to me. And so I thank TJ for that. As TJ sent me a book recently on Mickey Mantle memorabilia, which I an autographed by the author. Fabulous book, and I'll talk about that book at a later date. Also, he's building a 1967 top set, and it's going to include both graded and ungraded cards. And I happen to have a couple of cards, including a graded Red Sox Team Card, which is in the high number series, and some people have paid a good deal of money for. I got this card from a friend of mine who was a dealer, and he gave it to me at a ridiculously low price. I think maybe $20 or something. And so anyway, I was really glad to get that. And so I sent that card to TJ Tony because he's putting together a set. Well, I already had a set. I have a set. And it's got one of these cards ungraded in the binder, and that's good enough for me. I didn't need the graded card. And then I also had another high number card that he needed, and they're hard to come by. And when you can get them, you're going to pay pretty dearly for them. Even the commons are pretty expensive, relatively speaking. Okay, so the next gentleman I want to tell you about is TJ at TJ Mac Vintage Cards Nostalgia 648, and that's Terry McIntyre. If you don't know his name, and Terry is I'm a regular watcher of his channel. He usually does one or maybe two videos a week. He's talking about cutting back, but I've seen no evidence of that so far. So he may or may not do that in the future. But he has a wonderful collection, mostly graded cards, and mostly and also a lot of magazines. He started with a group of magazines from his father-in-law, and he's added to that over the years. So take a look at his channel. He collects not only baseball, but he also collects vintage football and hockey. I don't know that he's that much into basketball, but I don't think I've seen any basketball cards, but they may have stuck one in there on me and I've forgotten about it. regardless. His format is that he likes to take maybe a magazine that features a player, and then maybe two or three, or uh, 6 cards or 9 cards. Some grouping of cards that he'll show with that magazine, and then maybe show some other cards in addition to those. And he tells you about the players, about the teams, about the cards, about his relationship to the cards, and why they're important. He's not a set collector, although he may have a set or two. But every card that he has or shows, it means something to him. He's not collecting it for the sake of collecting it. He's collecting it because the card itself means something to him. And it makes for a wonderful format for videos, and he does a magnificent job with it. So really encourage you to take a look at TJ Maxx Vintage Cards Nostalgia 648. And Terry, you won't regret taking a look at Terry's videos. And so that's what I have to show you today. And I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoyed the shoutouts. And I hope you also enjoyed looking at a few cards and a few books and a box of unopened cards. And this box came out of a larger uh, box, and it is sealed, although you can't really see that. It has tape on the side of the box, and this edge is sealed on both sides. You can see right here where it tore a little bit right at the tape, and then it goes around here, and it's also sealed on the bottom, and then it's also sealed in the front, uh, right through here. And that interesting. So anyway, um, with that in mind, again, take a look at the websites, the shout outs, and take a look at the box of unopened cards. And if you have some books in your library, we can always take a look at them as well as the ones that I'm featuring. So that's what I have for you today, and I will give you my usual sign off, and that is this is Rocket Rick J 18, wishing all your collecting dreams come true.